Hey everyone, I'm Artosis, and alongside me I have EG.IdrA, and we are going to go ahead and do a little interview, talk about a lot of stuff going on. Haven't done one of these in a long time. I figured it was time. You ready, EG.IdrA?
I am.
Thank you for that long reply. All right, we're going to talk about the GSL mostly because that's kind of what's going on in StarCraft right now. First off, there was 5 foreigners that made it in this time. HeyPro, Rhett, Sen, Jinro, and yourself. How do you feel about the number of foreigners that actually made it in?
It's good because that's kind of proportional to the number of foreigners that actually played. Last time we only had 3 or 4 and 2 made it in. Now we had 8 or 9 respectable foreigners and 4 or 5 made it in. And obviously more people are going to keep coming over. And I think this just kind of shows that foreigners are capable of competing. They're not being blown out like they were in StarCraft 1 yet. So as we get more and more foreigners coming over, I think we'll do better and better and show that we really are capable of competing with the Koreans.
Definitely. Let's talk about how some of them did. First off, HeyPro, he was the only foreigner that actually fell in the first round. Fell to a guy that a lot of players aren't fond of right now, Bit by Bit Prime. What do you feel about HeyPro? Do you think that, is this guy just not as good? Did he mess up? What do you think?
No, all-in TVZ is ridiculously powerful right now. I mean, we had a lot of Zergs get in, then only 2 make it to the round of 8, and then those 2 lose in the round of 8. It's just really, really easy to lose to players who are worse than you, and that's what happened to HeyPro. It's just like Bit by Bit did ridiculous all-ins both games, and it caught HeyPro off guard. He's a really good macro Zerg. His play lacks some finesse, like he doesn't scout enough. He tends to overproduce drones, but those are the kind of things that are easy to work out. They come with experience and practice, and he's getting a ton of that in the OGS house. So he has a lot of room to grow. He could be very good.
Definitely agree with you there. Let's talk about Sen for a minute here. Now, this guy has always been a beast in StarCraft 1, and in StarCraft 2 he's been great so far. What did you think about his play in the GSL, and what especially did you think about him versus Nestea? Because Nestea is one of these sick ZVZ players, as we all know, and Sen really looked like he could have taken that match.
Yeah, well, his first round against Vines, it was just kind of, he had terrible maps, but Vines made bad decisions, and it wasn't really representative of much of all. Against Nestea, both games he chose pretty powerful early builds, like going straight for Baneling without getting Zergling speed. And then his timing rush on Scrap Station, I forget the specifics. And it was just like that Razor's Edge kind of game situation where he was a millimeter away from winning it. Just one decision here and there, and he would have won. So it was smart builds, and he microed well, executed well, but Nestea was just barely able to hold it off and countered properly. So, I don't know. Yeah, like you said, Sen's always a beast, but he also has a bit of that Demaga mode where he gets frustrated and just starts going all in every game, which really throws him off. But when he plays in macro, he's definitely one of the best.
We'll talk a little bit more about the Demaga mode later when we get to Fruit Dealer, but let's talk a little bit about Rhett. Now, this guy, he actually played some pretty sick games, barely lost to the best foe, made some mistakes that we've all seen before, But what do you think about Rhett's play and his future over here in the GSL?
Well, his weaknesses are the same as HeyPro's, but they're not as glaring with him. He's much more robust. He's a great macro player who can be caught off guard, but to be fair, any Zerg can be caught off guard right now. That's the weakness of the Zerg race. You're very vulnerable to Terran Protoss all-ins, and that's kind of what happened to him. The best just made a random mixture of units off one base. Rhett hadn't seen that exact composition before. He didn't respond exactly perfectly, and so he lost to a player who's way worse than him. I don't know. It's too bad, but he's definitely a player who has a bright future. He's ridiculously talented. If anyone's going to make it, it's him. And shit happens.
True that it does. Well, I want to talk real quick about how many all-ins are actually happening in this GSL. A lot of people are starting to complain, both on the Korean and foreigner forums. Of course, I think foreigners are a little bit more touchy about their cheeses, especially considering we've had a bunch of the players die by cheese. Rhett died by cheese, HeyPro died by cheese. You almost kind of, not really cheese, but, just kind of a fast, really quick attack. Wasn't macro games. What do you think about all the all-ins we're seeing, especially some of these Terrans are actually getting very far. Some of these, even Protosses and Zergs, every race has a bunch of all-in cheesers in the GSL. What do you think about all this cheese coming up?
Yeah, it's not surprising at all, to be honest. Mules, warp in, and the number of larvae, and the combination of larvae and Zergling makes all-ins really, really powerful. You can get that big boost to units really, really quickly. And if you catch your opponent off guard, it's kind of like a slippery slope kind of thing. You just barely break them. And then the mule, the warp in, and the larva, they just kind of remove the defender's advantage. You can have your units right there, or you can have so many units coming at once that... Sorry. It just makes all-ins very powerful, combined with the lack of early scouting. And I think that's really the biggest problem. It's just so hard to figure out what's going on until second-tier tech for most races. Just the combination of all that means that all-ins are really powerful, and I think they will continue to be. I don't think it's like StarCraft 1, where people figure out the defensive timings. I think it's just the strength of the all-in in general, that without a balance patch, it's always going to be really, really powerful.
Well, let's talk about GSL for a minute then, because he almost goes against what you just said there. He's actually playing the most solid Terran I've seen from anyone in Korea, aside from, a few Nada games here and there, where he is actually just macroing, doing little pressures and stuff, but this guy is not cheesing at all, and he looks to be a real contender for this GSL.
Yeah, well, about that, it's unfortunate he plays MC in the semifinals, because MC is really good, and he's a beast PvT. I think if GSL had gotten to play the other two semifinals, he would have crushed him. He impresses me more than any Korean Terran right now. And, yeah, all-ins are really powerful, but that's not to say that long game play isn't really powerful either. So, I mean, it's not surprising. But I'm really happy he's doing that, because it kind of shuts up all the people who are saying Terran can't play a macro game. It's just people don't do it because the all-ins are so powerful. But when you do it, obviously, as we can see with GSL, it's perfectly fine.
Now, talking about this top four that we have TSL Rain against Hongan Prime, and then we have OGS MC against Jinro. What do you think about these two matchups?
MC versus Jinro should be the finals of these four. I think MC is the best player. I hope Jinro wins just because that'd be cool. And he has been playing really well. He deserves to do well. Rain versus Hongan, it's really bizarre. Like, I'd never heard of Rain before this season, and he hasn't been particularly impressive. Hongan's been around forever, but he's pure cheese, abusive. He's not a particularly skilled player. Neither of them really deserve to be there. I don't care who wins. Whichever comes out of the other semifinal will win the tournament. It's probably going to be MC.
Yeah, I think it kind of does look like that. I do believe Jinro versus MC, definitely some higher level players. But in the round of 8, we saw Nestea fall to a bunch of SCV Marine all-ins. And then on the other hand, Fruit Dealer actually almost seemed to kill himself because he was the one doing all-ins against Hongan. He kind of went into that Demaga mode where we sometimes see Zergs where they're like, oh, I'm going to be behind, and then they just all in. First off, what do you have to say about Nestea, who has blocked so many cheese rushes over the last 2 GSLs following to this, and then Fruit Dealer killing himself off, basically, with all these all-ins against Hongan?
Mm-hmm. Well, the only time I remember him playing against the 2 racks all-in was against Foxer in the finals. And at that point, he was just further ahead of Foxer in the development of that specific kind of thing. He put down this spine crawler. He went hatch first. He used his drones well. He pumped links. He was more prepared for that style of play than Foxer was, and Foxer didn't execute it particularly well. Really, there's no one who's had a foolproof answer to it. A lot of Zergs have been knocked out by it. It's just a really, really strong build. No one's found a satisfactory answer to it. So it's not really surprising that happened. I mean, it's really unfortunate because obviously you outplayed him pretty badly in the other 2 games. But I don't know. It's just Zergs haven't found an answer to it yet. I don't know if there is an efficient answer. It's really strong.
All right, and on Fruit Dealer, he kind of kept cheesing Hongan. Some really questionable all-in strategies like the Baneling Bust on Scrap Station, and we saw him go all in on Lost Temple, where Hongan actually played really well to stop that. But what do you think about Fruit Dealer hitting this kind of Demaga mode where you just decide you're going to all in a whole lot?
Well, it was a combination of 2 things. He's always had a bit of that style. It's just in the past it was always successful, so it's like he didn't really catch any flack for it. But this is the other side of the coin. You do Roachling all-ins, and sometimes you look like a genius, and sometimes you lose to Hongan Prime. So it's just coming back to bite him a little bit. That's the dangers of that style. That's why I don't like to play it. And the other thing is, really, the games he chose to all in, mostly he was behind early, and that's it's a really scary situation because Protoss is really easy to close out a lead with. You just get your big Stalker Colossus army up, and if you had an economic advantage, Zerg has to be 10 times better than you to make something of it. So in Scrap Station, he gets his hatch rate blocked, and the other guy goes double Nexus, way behind in economy, so he all ins. Lost Temple, he gets cannon blocked, so he's way behind and he all ins. It's just, I don't know, it's just, he was in bad situations, and he felt that all-inning would be the better way than trying to come back against it, and it backfired, or it didn't pay off.
All right. Well, I think that's about as much as we can talk to about this GSL, but we do have the Code S coming up. and the list has been finalized. You and Jinro are the only 2 non-Korean players in it. And, of course, we have 30 other Korean players participating in Code S. I wonder, I'm going to give you the list right here. There you go. Underneath the camera. There you go. See. I want to know what you think about this list. Which of these players are going to be the scary players that you think can really do well in Code S and dominate it from each race? And which players do you see? Well, let's just start off with that, and then I'll go into the other one.
Okay. From Protoss, I'd say MC and Tester. For Terran, honestly, like I said, none of the Korean Terrans. I think Jinro's better than pretty much all the other Terrans on this list. At least he's much more well-rounded and legit. Some of them are scary just because they are more aggressive and more cheesy. So I'd say, honestly, yeah, Jinro.
Clyde.
Shut up. Yeah, Jinro and Jinro. And then for Zergs, I don't know, Fruit Dealer. He's been a lot more shaky lately, and I don't like the new styles he's been playing, but I think he is still more skilled than anyone else. Nestea, I'm still kind of, I don't think he's as good as you think he is, but he's not bad. He's better than most of these other people. So yeah, probably Fruit Dealer and Nestea for Zergs.
And there's kind of switching around, people from Code A coming up, knocking people from Code S down. Who do you think are the people on this list that are really going to fall very quickly to Code A and be replaced?
Personally, I kind of hope Rainbow does, because he looked absolutely awful in GSL 3. He couldn't even execute cheese well, and that's all he does. So I don't know. I can hope for that. Next, Live Forever. I don't think he even plays anymore. He'll be gone soon. Hyperdub. He's not particularly good. San Zenith. Legal Mind. Maybe Juktu Jung. I don't think he's that good. Any pro is questionable. I thought he was very skilled at first, but he's kind of been falling off quite a bit recently. I don't know if he really has the mechanics to keep up. The best foe, he's going to disappear really quick. Probably TSL Rain, too. I don't have much faith in him. Yeah, those are the ones who immediately jump out as don't deserve to be here.
And in true EG.IdrA fashion, the players that are going to be eliminated named a lot easier than the players that are going to win. All right. Well, that's Code S. Let's talk about what you've been doing recently. You've had a lot of stuff going on. Most recently, pro tips have been coming up. You've been actually commentating some of your games from MLG.
Yep. This is something I did while I was back in the U.S., during MLG Dallas, right afterwards. Sir Scoots, one of the EG managers, actually has this nice little studio set up in his house. So while I was there, I went down and recorded 8 or 10 VODs for Kingston HyperX and Bigfoot Networks. Just kind of these
He's sick. Sorry.
I'm just recovering from a flu. Recorded just these little instructional videos, and we're going to be putting up 1 or 2 a week for a month or 2, I think. You can find them all on myeg.net, and they're all linked to YouTube from there. And it's just me going over replays from MLG Dallas and DC. Some wins, some losses, some from every matchup, I believe. And it's just me commentating on it. Some of them have a specific focus, like this is how you do build order X on map Y against race C. Some are more just general all-purpose. This is the fundamental mechanics of this kind of style, that kind of thing. So really, yeah, they're just all-purpose instructional videos.
All right, and other than that, you've also got a new stream running. Oh, look at that. It's so rude. Having a phone call during this interview. You are just so popular, EG.IdrA. All right, how about your stream, though? Because this is actually exciting people a lot as well. You've been streaming live games. Tell us about that a little bit. Yep.
Well, with me out of GSL, no foreign tournaments for December, except that one kind of weird one in Mexico. I just didn't really have anything to do for a month. And I've had a lot of requests for lessons and a lot of interest in me streaming, just like people want to watch me play. So I figured I got this downtime, I might as well put it to good use, so I put up a stream.
And how can people find that stream, EG.IdrA? Because I'm sure they all want to watch.
Yes, it's up on Ustream, so if you search for EG.IdrA, it's the first hit. I also always post it on Team Liquid. There's a thread about it there, and it'll be up on the sidebar along with all the other featured streams. And also, I post almost every time I'm going to stream a significant number of games, post on Twitter. So you can follow me there if you want updates. It's at IdRAJIT, IDRAJIT.
All right, and last but not least, you've finally started coaching. I know a lot of people have been bugging you about that. Hell, even people were messaging me. They're like, Will IdrA coach me? So tell us about that a little bit.
Yep. Well, whenever I was on the North American server, I get spammed in general, but then I get a few messages asking if I do lessons. And I had in the past, if they were, just privately, if they were willing to pay enough, and I didn't have anything else to do, and I would do it. But I'd never offered them public before. But again, I figure I got this month off. Might as well put it to good use. So I joined Gosu Coaching, posted, and am now offering lessons. GosuCoaching.com, you can find it there, along with a bunch of other great coaches.
All right, excellent. Well, I think that's I've exhausted all the topics that we could possibly talk about at this point. You have any closing words, any shout-outs?
Yep. As always, thanks to my fans for supporting me. I lost kind of early in GSL, but I'll be back for the next one, so watch me there. Thanks to my team, EG. They're the ones making all these pro tips and everything possible, so you should go check that out at myeg.net. So we're going to be setting up a foreign house out here. I think most people have heard about it, but it's still in the works. It just takes a little time to get something that big set up. It's really, really exciting. Everyone should look forward to that in the future. Thanks to all our sponsors. Intel SteelSeries, MSI Notebook, Kingston HyperX, and Bigfoot Networks, and Thermaltake. They're the ones who make all that possible. And thank you for this interview.
Well, thank you so much, IdrA. And just for everyone watching this interview, I want to say go ahead, check out Artosis TV, youtube.com/Artosis TV. I'm going to go over to IdrA's house in a minute here and steal a bunch of replays and commentate them. Finally fixed my video problems, so see some IdrA games there as well. All right, thanks for watching, and see y'all later.